Hey guys, it's Jack. It's been a couple weeks, but I'm back. I'm currently fighting through pains in my throat and frat flu, but I gotta make a video because I need to talk about All-Stars 8. We're already 4 episodes into the season, and I really don't know what to think about it. For the most part, I feel like my thoughts are pretty negative. But it's this weird type of negativity where I can criticize the show, but I end up just feeling so blah, apathetic about it. I don't know. I don't even know if my thoughts are shared by other people. I've talked to some who are saying they really like the season, and others where they're saying that they don't like the season at all. It's really divided for sure, and I think it comes down to a couple factors, starting off with the cast. Also, just a couple things. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. And these are very early thoughts. We're only 4 episodes in, and I feel like it's gonna get really crazy very soon. I'm not gonna come after casting for only casting some stars or no stars or whatever people like to complain about online. One of the major issues of casting to me, especially when casting for these much larger all-star seasons, is the fact that they cast multiple queens to fill the same role. The problem to me was first really apparent on All-Stars 6, where there were a lot of queens who had potential storylines that just kind of got lost. I have a full video around this topic planned, but just for here, queens like Scarlet, Pandora, and Akira all had the potential to have really interesting storylines that just never happened. And it just ultimately came down to the fact that they didn't have time to establish these storylines with these queens because they were juggling a lot of other really great storylines. Are those same great storylines happening in All-Stars 8? I can't say they are yet, but I hope they start. But I'm already feeling the impact of having such a big cast, but only a limited time to tell these stories. Queens like Monica, Naysha, Kahana, and James all have very similar goals coming back to the competition. But I just don't think it would be interesting for them to fit 4 early out redemption storylines into the show, so 2 of them went home very, very early. And I think we're getting that same sort of vibe with Darian's elimination, the most recent. We'll get to this episode and the judging in general in just a little bit, but to me, I saw Darian in a similar category as Jessica, Alexis, Jimbo to an extent, and Heidi to an extent. These 5 queens all had highs in their original runs in the competition, but had one piece that kind of kept them from being in the finale. So they're coming back to show if they've gained that piece, but again, 1 or 2 of them are going to get lost in the mix, and unfortunately that was Darian. And as a big fan of Darian, that is extremely frustrating to me because I feel like her casting and potential was just thrown out the window. The best All-Star seasons to me have a central theme throughout the season. All-Stars 2 is revenge, 3 is Game of Thrones, 4 is reclaiming your time, 5 doesn't really have one, 6 is redemption, 7 doesn't really count, and 8 is just kind of redemption again, or I guess the missing piece like I was talking about. And they still have time to establish a theme, but what we've gone through right now is already charted waters and done better on All-Stars 6. By this time on All-Stars 6, so many moving parts were already being put into place. Multiple queens were getting the redemption like Raja and Trinity, and the twist of the season added on to the redemption storyline. When I look at the cast of All-Stars 8, I'm immediately intrigued and I'm like, okay, each of these people has something to prove. But nothing that's been established so far really has continuity from any of the previous seasons. The most you can say is that Kahana got her first win, Jessica is still a threat after so many years, and Lala was high for the ball. I'm glad that we're seeing a lot of the queens succeed, but it's things that they've already been really successful at in the past. The cast to me screams redemption, and redemption screams growth in areas that wasn't present in their first season. But at least for right now, all of the queens are succeeding, but succeeding in areas that we know they're already going to do good in. I expected that subversion and that satisfying redemption, but I guess I'm just like looking for something different out of the cast. I'm bringing all of this up to say I feel like this cast could be really great, but it also kind of gives me the same vibes as All-Stars 6. And I feel like they knew that by looking at this cast, so they try to do something different, but by doing something different, it just makes a product that's much less satisfying to me, and I just don't connect with it that much. I think the girls are great, I just don't think the storytelling is as strong as it can be with a cast like this. But the thing is, with storytelling, they don't have to give them complete wins, but they can at least give high placements or placements that make more sense. We get many redemptions by them just being fulfilled. We saw this with like Lala and the ball, but that just brings me to the judging of this season. The judging of this season has been the most questionable it has been in a while. It's been the most questionable to me since maybe season 13. So I'm going to quickly run through each episode and just kind of talk about the judging. Sorry to drag detective, this is basically just stepping on your territory. Episode 1, Kahana getting the win. Yes, it makes sense. I think she had really great runways and her performance was really great. I think Lala being high makes sense. She had a great verse, an amazing performance, and the runways were pretty good. And Alexis being high, I do see it too, but I think Jessica could have also been high because she took a lot of the helm for the choreography. But here's where we get the first questionable judgment that still irks me weeks later. The way way Rue calls it, the way the critiques were given out, the way it's listed on the wiki, James is high for this episode, and I don't see that. The verse in the runways, safe and solid, good job James. That performance though, she was behind and they did critique her for that, but Ross somehow spun it positive, saying that he didn't really care, and I think that is one of the worst types of critiques. Because in a different episode, if someone was behind on choreography, they would get on them and critique the hell out of them. But here, it's not as much of a problem. There's just no consistency, and that frustrates me. Monica being in the bottom, I do see it. Darian in the bottom, it makes me so mad because I guess I see it, but at the same time, I don't. Especially when compared to her season 6 performance, this was such a huge improvement. But I guess someone had to be in the bottom too, and the way they got on her for that Billie Eilish outfit, oh my god. I could do a video essay on this look alone. I loved it so much. Obviously, they didn't. I just thought that the look really fit the category. Billie has influenced a lot of people to dress a certain way, and I don't think that queens would think to do this on the show. It's something that I wouldn't expect from Darian. I just thought it was really smart. And that presentation was really great too. I don't know. I really don't know. I need to move on. Episode 2 with the SNL sketch, I just want to say parts of this challenge were really funny. The cold open is my least favorite thing that they've done in a really long time. People were getting on Daytona Wins 2 for being all references. This was that, but 10 times worse. But I did find other sketches funny, like the weekend update, like Jimbo and Jessica's sketch, and Jimbo getting the win here, sure, that's fine. I think Heidi arguably deserved it also. James also getting a high placement, that makes sense. James was great, but now I'm confused because the tops and the bottoms are only 5 instead of 6. Like episode 1, there were already 4 tops and 2 bottoms, which was already lopsided and kind of weird, but now there's only 5 queens getting critiqued with 3 in the top and 2 in the bottom, and there's no consistency. If they want to switch over to 4 tops and 2 bottoms, whoa, that's totally fine. Showcase more positivity, I love that, but just like keep it consistent. They went back to that in episode 3, and here Kasha or Jessica could have been high. Kasha had one of the best performances of the night, and Jessica had a mini storyline going on where she was talking about struggling with English and all that, so either one of them would make sense to being put in the top, but they just weren't. If this is nitpicky bullshit to you and you don't really care about this, I'm sorry. I just find it really interesting dissecting these things and the inconsistencies and maybe what the producer's intentions are behind it. What's not interesting to me is Kahana being in the bottom after winning her first week. Did she deserve the bottom placement? I think yeah, she did, but after Roxy and Tatiana, Mo Hart, India, and Yara, I'm just kind of tired of this storyline. It's a failsafe and I'm tired of it. It's just such an easy way to get someone out of the competition that they don't really want to see there. Put a queen in the bottom who just won next to a queen who obviously didn't win because there's only been one episode. The queens are going to vote on track record. The queen who has the win is going to stay. The queen who they don't want there is gone. It's been done so many times. Yeah, I guess it was justified for this one, but please, dear Lord, try not to do it for the next All-Stars. The ball, I'll keep it short and quick. Heidi and Kahana had some of the best looks of the night and should have been in the top. Jimbo, Candy, and Lala being up there, they had a strong look or two, but they just weren't as consistent in my opinion. Jessica getting the win, I do see that. I think that's great. And like I said a minute ago, we're back to 4 in the top and 2 in the bottom, so where is the consistency, guys? And that consistency, guess what, doesn't continue into episode 4 when they're now being judged on groups just so they can get Darian out, and it is so obvious. I'm annoyed that Alexis threw Darian under the bus, but also it is good TV. It's funny. It is frustrating though because I wish Darian said something. But Darian in this edit only got positive critiques, and yeah, she has been in the bottom the most, but I felt like no matter what she did this episode, they were just using her as a shield to get her out eventually. The choice of judging as individuals or as groups has been one of the most inconsistent judging choices on the show. It's also one of the most obvious meddling tactics once you know what to look out for. If there's a certain queen that they want out that did specifically good for their group, oh, we're judging in groups tonight. Or if the group did good but one specific queen they want out didn't do good, they're gonna judge individual. Heidi and Lala gave great performances and could have been in the top, but I also did really like Candy and Jessica too. It just feels really calculated right now. I don't know, I'm tired. And one last thing that I want to talk about that I think everyone is really agreeing on, everyone is tired of the lip sync assassin twist. The roomocracy still exists as a failsafe to try and keep the person in the competition that they want to keep in. I think that's fine and okay. It's not as prevalent and there's still a lot of factors that go into it. If you want more details, watch my Naomi Game Changers video. I'm not going to get on the showrunners too much because by this time last year, it was All-Star 7. We had a whole year break from this twist, but I think going back to it while having other seasons with Lip Sync for Your Life and Legacy, it's just run its course. And just to touch on it, because I feel like I'll get comments if I don't, oh my god, Jimbo versus Pangina, what a crazy coincidence. A lot was set up to make this happen. I hope we get something else like this. I always find them entertaining even if they are really overproduced. And that leads me into the things that I do like about the season, because there are some things. Even though I don't think this cast is being used to their full potential and doesn't have as much connection as other casts, they're still really great. There's a lot of wild cards that I have been loving. All of the challenges have been pretty standard, but most of the performances have been great throughout. There hasn't been a full-on miss of a performance, and that goes to show that all of these queens are really talented. And finally, I don't think the twist of this season is as crazy as All-Stars 2 or 6, but I do love it. It's a really amazing idea to do the fame games, attach $50,000 to it, really pay these girls. That's great. So overall, there's some good things about the season. There's just a lot of missed potential that I feel like could be remedied down the line. Will this actually come to fruition? I hope so. Will it get crazier? I think so. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe. This video was all over the place, kind of like always. Summer has just started. I'm gonna try and get another episode analysis out this week, maybe like Silky's Redemption. I think that's the one I want to tackle. And I'm probably gonna do some worst episode ones too, just for the fun of it. I was negative in this video, but don't direct it at any of the queens. Please go show them some support. And show yourself some support, some love. I'll see you soon with another video.